Hi dear friends and subscribers, welcome to Cricket Happenings. And in this part of the Cricket Happenings show we are going to see, which was absolutely expected, the rain gods definitely stayed away. There was no storm, nothing of that sort happened, and even though there was a bit of a gloom around, Australia managed to wipe off England and go on to a 218 run test win in the second Commonwealth Ashes test match at the Adelaide Oval. And it was pretty quick work by England in the by Australia in the first session to clear off England. So that actually means that Australia have now taken a 2-0 lead in the Ashes Test series. So I will be briefly touching on that and also looking at how England could combat that in the other Test matches, in the sense, as you know, now it's a green track coming in, green, pacey and bouncy, as the WACA in Perth is always known to be in Australia, and that is going to pose a real stiff challenge for England once again. And for England, well, even if they can get to a draw in the Ashes series, they would still take it because they will still retain the Ashes. Well, so that is something I'll be looking at. And then we will look at yesterday's T20 match, which was being played between Afghanistan and Pakistan, where Afghanistan ran Pakistan very close. That the match had to really go down to the wire, and it was pretty exciting. But Afghanistan did a good turn there for themselves by stretching Pakistan to the limit yesterday. So I'll talk about that, and then we look at some cricket news, if at all it is making any headlines. But right now, I'm going to start off with the second test, Commonwealth Test match between Australia and England in the Ashes, where Australia went on to another big victory, this time by 218 runs. Now England, as you know, they resumed at their overnight score, and they found the going pretty tough. It was Matt Pryor along with Broad who resumed the operation, resumed the battle. In fact, Broad really showed some pluck there by actually hooking the bowler Peter Siddle for a six. But Siddle was the man who actually got the initial breakthrough for England on the fifth day, on the final day morning, as he picked up the wicket of Stuart Broad. Stuart Broad went on to the hook shot, and Nathan Lyon picking up the catch. A bit of a juggle, but in the end making it. And Broad was walking back to the pavilion, caught Lyon, bowled Siddle for 29 with 3 fours and 1 6. So that made the score 255 for 7. Stuart Broad, it was Graham Swan who joined Matt Pryor. Now Matt Pryor was edging and missing, but as and when he was connecting it well. He was really getting a bit aggressive, but whenever, as I said, he was playing and missing, he was edging, but as and when he got a time to connect the ball, he used to connect it well, and the ball used to race to the boundary. And we saw some very good strokes being played by Matt Pryor, and it was something which was it should have been a very refreshing thing for England to see that Matt Pryor is getting into some sort of form right now. And Graham Swan was the next to go, as Harris got a ball which pitched, bounced, and left him, and Graham Swan had already nicked onto that. The ball had already nicked the edge of the bat, as his Swan's bat was actually dangling like a carrot, and Clark took a neat catch in the slip, so he was gone for 6. So that made the score 293 for 8. Anderson walked in to join Matt Pryor, and then Matt Pryor, realizing that Anderson and Palliser are there, he thought that now it was really futile for him to really go and block the deliveries. So what he did is he also attempted the aggressive route, trying to pull Siddle. Did that, but Harris took the catch, and Matt Pryor was absolutely not happy, but unfortunately that was the case. But one thing for Matt Pryor would be that he would look back onto this match and say that, yay, I've at least hit some form now, as Matt Pryor left, caught Harris, bowled Siddle for 69 with 12 fours. So 12 fours was hit by Matt Pryor in that partnership. With Broad it was a very good partnership which ended at 45 runs, and then it was all over as Monty Palliser was a victim of Harris. Scott Rogers bowled Harris for a blob. Anderson remained not out on 13 with 2 fours. 312 all out England. Thus Australia getting a 218 run victory, and also going 2-zip in this 5-match Ashes series, with the third one, as I said, it's an absolute green top. with pace and bounce really going to be the key. And on a pitch like this, one would have not expected England to put up such a I mean, even though they battled in the second innings, I mean, one would have not expected England to really cave in so meekly in the first innings at least, and especially considering the pitch was very flat. So it was pretty commendable that Mitchell Johnson once again took the man of the match, and what a series Mitchell Johnson is having. We are just in the second match of the Ashes Test series. Is Mitchell Johnson going to break the record? Probably once held by Rodney Hogg, if I'm not wrong. But I don't know whether it was the Ashes Test series. But Rodney Hogg did it. He took, I think, 30 or 40 odd wickets in that particular series. Or whether Terry Alderman also has done it in the past. But whether Mitchell Johnson would be marching on to that, one does not know. Because in 2 tests, he already has 17 wickets in his bag. I wish him good luck. He is looking absolutely full of fire and brimstone, and I won't be surprised if Mitchell Johnson goes on to break the Australian record for the most number of wickets in an Ashes Test series. Such is his form, such is his control over the bowling, and he is looking absolutely magnificent for him, and very rightly so. Mitchell Johnson got the man of the match award. Let's look at the bowling figures. Ryan Harris, 19.4 overs, 3 maidens, 54 runs and 3 wickets. Peter Siddle getting a 4-wicket back, 19 overs, 4 maidens, 4 for 57, bowled well. Mitchell Johnson, 24 8, 73 1. Nathan Lyon, 26 overs, 7 maidens, 1 for 78. 6 overs, 3 maidens, none for 6. And Stephen Smith did not bowl yesterday, 1 for 43. And as I said, it was a very comprehensive victory by Australia by 218 runs to go 2-zip in the series. The third test match is going to be starting between Australia and England at the WACA, the pacey and bouncy pitch here in Perth, and this is going to be starting on 13th of December. So not much time left before both the teams lock horns in the third test match. For England, let's look at England. As far as Australia are concerned, there's nothing to really talk about because they have been doing all the right things and the results are coming in. For England, it is a matter of a great conjecture now as to what's really happening with the English cricket team, who are really doing pretty well, and suddenly England now find themselves absolutely into a hole there. And let's look at the England batting now. What is the one now? What is very surprising about this English cricket team, according to me, is they are not looking the same self, in the sense, if you see Alistair Cook, being the captain of the team, he disappointed. This was a pitch which was absolutely flat. If you can imagine, when Australia, even though they struggled in the first innings, in the sense England restricted them, but they went on to 570. So probably England should have learned their lessons and tried to buckle in, but none of the batsmen could do so. That Mitchell Johnson's demolition in the first innings left them in absolute absolute disarray, I would say. And as far as England are concerned, Alistair Cook, the captain, didn't give a good example of himself by being out cheaply in both the innings, especially when responsibility was the key. Alistair Cook let the whole England team down by playing that hook shot in the second innings. Carberry, according to me, was looking impressive, so that is something going forward England would be taking it, that at least Michael Carberry has hit some good form, because he played 2 consistent knocks. In the first innings, he contributed 60 runs. In the second innings, his contribution was 14 runs. But Joe Root also did his bit by making 87 runs, looking pretty impressive. Kevin Pietersen, well, in the second innings, he has definitely played, but one is looking out for a big one from Kevin Pietersen. Ian Bell, first innings, he held the innings. Second innings, he went on to play a very rash stroke, getting out to a full toss from Stephen Smith. Ben Stokes, the all-rounder, didn't have, could have performed much better than what his figures suggest, but it's a learning experience for Ben Stokes. He has just started his test career here, so he would definitely learn from that, and I'm sure he would be a better all-rounder. And any situation like that, I'm sure Ben Stokes has it in him to really reverse the trend that's happening to England right now. Matt Pryor, as I said, it's a refreshing change of form for Matt Pryor, so he would take that. Stuart Broad, as far as the bowling is concerned, well, Anderson in the second innings bowled well, but in the first innings he was not up to the mark at all. What about Graham Swan? Now, Graham Swan, Ian Chappell has already said that Graham Swan left a lot to be desired. Well, Graham Swan is a world-class spinner, and he has not been able to really make any inroads. In fact, in the first innings, he actually in the second innings he bowled 9 overs for 31 runs. As far as the first innings was concerned, he got I suppose 1 wicket. I'm just trying to check. Yes, he got 2 wickets for 151 runs. So, but that's not enough as far as Graham Swan is concerned. Monty Panesar not really bowling to the expectation that one would have liked him to be, and the pace attack also not really delivering the right result for England. And England are seeking answers whether there are going to be changes. Now, we are going to have a pacey and bouncy pitch at the WACA in Perth. Whether there is going to be an induction, in my opinion, I would rather say that Monty Panesar would definitely be left out, and I am of the feeling that it's time to have the 4-pronged pace attack back into action. Stephen Finn and Chris Tremlett should be playing, but the next question which arises is who is going to be dropped, whether it is going to be Ben Stokes or it is going to be Graham Swan. Now, whether that would be the right thing in going into a test match without a frontline spinner. I think that's a cardinal error that some test teams have committed in the past, and they have realized it to their utter chagrin that that's not the way to go. So I doubt whether that would happen, but then probably because Ben Stokes is a medium pacer, so they would be prompted to keep him. So it's going to be a real a question mark, but I would definitely love to see England have Stephen Finn and Chris Tremlett back into action, especially considering the fact that both are tall men and both have the natural bounce because of their height. And as far as Perth WACA is concerned, such a pacey and bouncy pitch, I'm sure these two men are going to prove quite a handful. So, but the only question is whether Graham Swan would be dropped, if at all, or whether they would probably drop Ben Stokes and bring in. So probably one is looking at it. In my opinion, as far as I look at it, I think it would be Ben Stokes and Monty Panesar out, and in would be Chris Tremlett and Stephen Finn, the tall two pace bowlers from England. Well, so that is as far as this Ashes Test Series is concerned. So we'll wait for the 13th of December, when the pacey and bouncy pitch, the WACA, awaits the Englishmen, and the Australians absolutely cock-a-hoop right now. Okay, so let's get on to some other cricket news, and this is a cricket news which is coming in from the Sharjah Cricket Stadium yesterday, where Afghanistan took on Pakistan at Sharjah, and Afghanistan were the ones who batted first. They made 137 for 8, 38 coming from the bat of Najmullah Zadran of 30 deliveries with 3 4s and 2 6s, and 28 from Mirwais Ashraf towards the end, 2 4s and 1 6, that enabled them to reach 137 for 8. And the wickets are 2 for 11 for Sohail Tanveer, bowled very economically, 3 for 24 for Junaid Khan, and 1 wicket apiece to Zulfikar Babar, Bilawal Bhatti and Shahid Afridi. As far as Pakistan were concerned, they started off well. They had Shahjeel Khan actually making his debut. Shahjeel Khan made 18, he hit a 6-2 of 18 of 16 ball, 2 4s and 1 6. Ahmed Shahzad stroked his way to 35, 37 balls with 6 4s. Hafiz was still there in the end. Umar Akmal contributed 28, but it was all up to Hafiz. As I said, the match went on to the wire there, and to get 138, Pakistan had to go and use the penultimate delivery of this particular innings to get a victory, and Mohammad Hafiz was there with them at the end to take them to victory. Not out on 42 of 37 balls with 2 4s and 1 6. Afridi was not out on 138 for 4. Mohammad Nabi, the right-arm off spinner, 4 overs, no maiden, 1 for 21. Shapur Zadran, 3 overs for 17. Hamid Hassan played, but it was very surprising to see that Hamid Hassan was costly, probably feeling a bit rusty after coming back into this Afghanistan team after an injury. 4 overs, no maiden, none for 29. I have high hopes on Hamid Hassan, the tall pace bowler who has always been a vital cog, according to me, in this Afghanistan scheme of things. Dawlat Zadran, 1 for 25. Samila Shenwari, the right arm leggy, 1 for 26, Murwaiz Ashraf, none for 17. Mohammad Hafiz of Pakistan was named man of the match. Now, the other thing that we are going to look at is I'm going to see whether I can give you some cricket news. As far as cricket news is concerned, it's coming in from South Africa. South Africa have decided that they're going to have an unchanged outfit for the Test series against India. They have announced the same squad that actually played Pakistan in the last Test match, and they're going to have the same team. Other than that, the ICC Hall of Fame is going to honor the former Australian batsman and commentator Adam Gilchrist, and WACA Yunus, the Pakistan commentator now, and the former pace bowler WACA Yunus into the Hall of Fame. So that is the other two new inductees which are going to come. The other news that is coming in is from Australia, where Perth Scorchers, as you know, in the Big Bash League tournament, they have the Perth Scorchers have gone and roped in Dwayne Smith and Justin Langer, the coach of Perth Scorchers, feels that that would be a great addition for them, and Ajanta mendis would be signing for Sydney Thunder. So that with all this cricket news, the cricket news, cricket reports, your host Ram is ending the cricket show for today, but promising you this cricket happenings rages on, and it will rage on tomorrow too when I see you on my next cricket happenings show. Until then, it's goodbye from your host Ram. Thank you.